Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EVN Disrupt podcast. My name is Gevorgyan. I'm the editor of the tech section here at EVN Report. Today, our guests were Sargis Karapetyan and Naré Gevorgyan. Sargis is the CEO of Embry Tech, and Naré is the Chief Design Officer of Embry Tech. Embry Tech is a wearables company in Armenia that integrates Web3 technology into their products. We spoke about their Smart Soul product, how they incentivize their users through crypto rewards, the challenges of building a hardware product, and the future of wearable technology. Thank you for listening. Sargis, Naré, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure. Let's start with a little bit of your backgrounds. How did you guys get started in your careers and what made you want to build a startup?
So I'm coming from the design background, and at school I was an A student, and almost every single teacher thought that I will follow their path, becoming a doctor, especially when my father was a doctor or a mathematician or something, but not a designer. They were shocked when they heard that I have chosen a design. Actually, my doctor dad was one of the biggest motivators that I followed the design path, and he woke in me the love for art, for design, for systems, for quality and that stuff. So I started exploring art and design in National Aesthetic Center in Armenia and had a great mentor and teacher, Vahagan Baghdasaryan, who first talked about design and designer. It was like 2002 when I have heard about design, and my mission started to create physical products that can give better quality to people's life. Then I studied at TUMO. I was one of the very first students at TUMO. I went to Yerevan State Academy of Fine Arts, product design, and eventually I explored every single shade of design, graphic design, UI, UX, product design, and eventually we founded our own company with Sargis. Back then, he was an engineer, passionate engineer, and I had many questions. I had many thoughts that we can build together, and we started prototyping, bringing to life physical products, and that's how it started.
Is there one product that you remember seeing that made you really fall in love with product design, that made you want to build and design products like that?
I can't remember exact product, but there were a website, Yanko Design, that was kind of a motivation for me. I was scrolling all day with the bad internet connection. I was scrolling all the day, looking through the products which are worth to showing in that website. And I was reading descriptions and thinking like how smart are they and how they did it. And it motivated me to build another products.
Cool. Sargis, what about you?
Naré mentioning teachers reminded me my childhood. So I grew up in my dad's hardware lab. My first toy was soldering station. And then we moved to Artsakh and started living full village life. And I was having conversations with my dad about semiconductors, logical elements like ores and while pasturing animals or planting trees. Of course, sports was a very important part of my life. I used to run every day with my dad from 5 to 10 years. During village time, there were no time for run, but I was practicing wushu and table tennis. So I can't imagine my life without sports. Also, one thing that made me care about fitness and health is that my dad had a back issue on his 40s, and I thought I'm not going to have that. But when I reached 30, I realized if I don't take action, I would have the same fate. That being said, it was obvious I'm going to become an engineer. I was dreaming to become a pilot. Then when I saw a computer, I fell in love. I didn't have sleep. Like, I was dreaming about coding and hacking and stuff like that. And that brought me to Polytechnic University, computer science, where I did my bachelor's. And then 10 years I spent in software and got bored of only virtual world. Then what I loved the conversations with Naré is that we were talking about real products you can touch, but also talking about how we connect the virtual with the real. that what excited me, and we started prototyping. But then we realized no one is using the products. And then we decided, well, we're going to pick one project and bring it to life and sell it. And then we realized, well, oh, wow, that's a startup. They call it a startup. They call it, we can't fund it. You need money. And we learned what is VC.
Right.
And then we accidentally become entrepreneurs.
Got it. Okay, so let's get to the founding story of Embry Tech. Tell me how you guys came across this product idea and how you decided to start the company.
The initial idea was just, can we have a wearable scales that can remind people or help people when their weight is scrolling up on them? But eventually, back then, we never thought that it will become a great big tool for wellness management and have many applications. As a designer and as an engineer for Sargis, it was mainly a kind of a challenge and to satisfy our ambitions. Can we build it? Because we were looking for technology available for measuring people's weight without standing on a scale, but we couldn't find. So we started to build it as a technology, and as Sargis already mentioned, we never heard of startups, VCs. Even we didn't know English that time.
What year was this?
It was
2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when we started to cook the idea, and we got introduced to that startup ecosystem. We got our first grant, and then we flew to Silicon Valley. We participated in Draper University entrepreneurship course,
Oh, wow.
and we started to feel that energy of entrepreneurship and building the business.
Mm-hmm.
We started to learn how to do sales, how to pitch, how to talk to your customers, users, and how to collect the feedback from them to build better products. So,
And tell me about the product. What problem are you guys working to solve today?
as I already said, Embry insoles are measuring like weight fluctuations, physical activity. But when we have built the product, we shipped, we understood that sometimes just having the data, it's not enough to motivate people to move more. So we were thinking about new ways how we can motivate people to move. And it's scientifically proven that when you switch people's focus from the behavior itself by incentivizing them, motivating them with points, with rewards, with money, with other social benefits, they start to do whatever you
Right.
wanted them to do. So we were thinking about like how we are going to motivate people to move more. And now we ended up to have a product by Embry Tech, which we call Motearn by Embry. Motearn is a lifestyle application in Web3, which connects virtual and real worlds and rewards people for moving. And this is the only one right now in the world available, which connects the physical wearable device to the Move to Earn application. So we decided to go with the name Motearn. We created the name. We combined the mot, which is like Latin word for movement. It stands for in the roots of motivation, motor, motive, and everything. So we combined MOS to earn and created new word which will modernize the world. We will change the way people think about movement, about earning, like how you can combine that two things. And also we have chosen as a visual, as a logo for us, the green traffic light walking man. So first it is visual command for move. And also you need to walk, not drive in a city to see that sign. So we are kind of mixing that two concepts of move and mod to earn became a new product of Embry. So it's now Motearn by Embry.
I'm really interested in the crypto rewards aspect of your business. But before we get there, let me ask some questions about the early days of when you guys started shipping your product. So now, today we're in spring 2022. Or you started taking orders in 2021 and shipping early 2022?
Late 2021. Started shipping in November, but it was like small batches.
Small batches,
yeah.
Okay. And did you guys start manufacturing the actual physical wearable in 2021?
We started manufacturing physical wearables 2020. Before that, it was prototyping and so on. We tried to do it in China, in Armenia, and in US, but now stopped on US.
What was that experience like trying to do it in Armenia?
Hardware is hard everywhere in the world. But especially in Armenia, we don't have good means of transportation, and we don't have available materials.
Right.
Everything we have to export, and frankly speaking, we don't have really good regulations regarding import and export. So you face a lot of issues and delays. And we tried to compensate it with building whatever we are able to find. This is how you get creative. But if you want to go masses, it's almost impossible to do it fully in Armenia.
Can you give an example of what import-export regulations need to change to better support hardware startups in Armenia?
So we have a document on this with the hardware community. I'm also running a hardware community on a side, trying to get together, helping each other, like hardware founders. The main problem here is that we don't have anyone in the customs that differentiates like resistor from the cup, right? So, and every time there are delays, and they have like regulations that are coming from Soviet Union. There are parts that used to be double purpose, let's say military or agricultural, that you have to get a license or something like that from security or from military or from agricultural ministries. That is very simple thing today, and you have everywhere.
Yeah.
And still you have to get this license.
Right.
And like there are a lot of complications, and also one thing to mention is that you are paying like 5 times more to brokers than to the country. Like then the taxes are very small,
right?
But import-export taxes is not bad. But the brokerage services that you have to go
through
is crazy.
Yeah. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that perspective before, and you don't hear about too many hardware startups in Armenia yet, so that might be one of the reasons. Okay, so you guys ended up deciding on manufacturing the product in the US. I think it's always hard to be a hardware startup, but it's especially hard these days. We constantly hear about supply chain issues and things of that nature. So how have you guys managed to navigate these hard times?
Sometimes we have to disassemble our old models to get some parts to ship new ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes we use our channels. The manufacturing partner in Los Angeles we have, Career Technologies. The president, Armen, is in our advisory board, and we use his power and channels to source things that are not available for small companies like ours. Yeah.
So let's get back to the product. As you said, you guys started shipping late last year, and you noticed that the product wasn't necessarily being used as much as you expected it to, and you felt the need to pivot to a model that incentivized people to use the product more. How'd you guys end up making that decision? What data points were you tracking, and how'd you guys come to that conclusion that you needed to pivot?
There are 2 parts of decision, the customer part and the technology part. I'll try to cover the technology part and leave the customer part to Naré. So the technology part is that we realized our technology is very unique in a way that we are really precise and reliable in terms of physical activity tracking, and we are tracking little details that no wearable can do. Let's say, are you sitting or standing?
Right.
Are you actually walking or mingling around?
Right.
Like, are you running or walking? Like, it's really hard to differentiate, but we do. But then the question raises, who needs this accuracy?
Right.
Right? And here we come when you design for the user, then most probably users don't want to lie themselves, right? Cheat themselves. But if you have to reward people for doing physical activity, all of a sudden you have a new stakeholder that is interested whether users are walking or not.
Right.
So one of the decisions that made us to shift was that.
And talking from the customer perspective, we have noticed that people initially love the product. They order, they buy, they love the packaging, they love the feel. Even there are people who wear the insole every day, but sometimes they forget to charge, or sometimes they don't find just having the data very helpful for moving more because they just ignore the data or something like that. Before shifting, we started to explore the dangers coming from sitting more, and it turned out that like average American sits like more than ever in the history during the day. It can be like more than 15 hours a day. It's not the sitting that kills ourselves, but the lack of movement. Mm-hmm. So we were thinking like, how can we make that people to move more and even to interact with the product, with the application, why they should open the application, why should they charge their device. And we came across to that move to earn concepts and its emerging market. And unlike other applications in the market, as Sargis said, we can precisely differentiate the activities. Mm-hmm. That's why we can have that rewarding system in more reliable economics.
Right. So right now I purchase the Embry Smart Insole, the Motearn Smart Insole.
So you are buying
Motearn NFT.
Yeah, you are buying Motearn NFT shoe.
So there's a whole new aspect to
it.
Okay, walk us through from start to end.
All right, so first users have to buy one of the CT NFTs of Motearn.
CT, you're going to have to explain what an NFT is too, because I don't think we've spoken about it on the show yet.
Okay, so...
Not too technically, but just...
Okay, so NFTs were with us for ages. Let's say your passport is an NFT, non-fungible token. So a token that gives you certain utilities, access to certain things. We call it non-fungible tokens. Right. Now in the virtual world, before it was not available because we have Control-C, Control-V, copy-paste.
Right.
And blockchain technologies came here to allow us to have non-fungible tokens in virtual world, in digital world as well.
Right.
Okay. So those who are familiar with NFTs, most of them connect them to artworks. That is one use case of NFTs that took off, that it has a value. But NFTs could be exploited more. It's just the beginning. And now we see a trend of utility NFTs. And one of the utility NFTs we are introducing, we are introducing a new category of NFTs, which are dynamic NFTs. And we call them connected tangible NFTs.
Okay.
So those are the tokens, NFTs, that are connected to a smart product in the real world. And the data coming from the smart product updates the metadata of the NFT, kind of upgrades the stats of the NFT. And then this NFT has more utility than it had before.
If I purchase the smart insole that you guys sell, that does not come with an NFT. I can use the smart insole separately for weight tracking and tracking steps. And then if I want to participate in the Web3 aspect of the product, I purchase an NFT and then I start using it.
We stopped selling insoles from 1st of May this year with the launch of alpha version of Motearn.
Okay.
So we are completely shifting away from just selling to B2C. We might keep selling B2B, but in this case, the only way to get Embry insoles is that become an alpha tester for Motearn.
Got it.
And buy one of the CT NFTs we launched in OpenSea, and it comes with an install. So you get a code to
it's
redeem,
vice versa, yeah.
to get the installs.
Okay, so you buy the NFT and then get the install. Okay, and then how do you guys reward people for using the product?
Right now, people just put the insole in their shoes, connect it to their application, which is connected to their NFTs, and they just start to move. We are following the World Health Organization's structure of like the concept of a healthy day, and they start earning cryptocurrency when they do more than 2,000 steps a day. And we stop rewarding them when they do 30,000 steps because it can be unhealthy. Yeah, it's too much. So they just move, they walk, and we reward them for the continuous walking or running for now, like the activity of running or walking. It's not just mingling around or doing some meetings in a standing position, but when you start to walk and your walking process, but you don't need to hit start or stop because we can differentiate it from our data.
Got it. Okay.
Also worth mentioning that we also plan to decrease the earnings if user sits more than 2 hours in a row and then does not stand.
Interesting. Okay. And is this a token that do you guys have your own token that the user gets rewarded with?
We haven't launched the smart contract yet, but it's in our plan for next 2 months. And we are introducing a new crypto token called Embry Motearn token. We call it EMET. And users are going to be rewarded with EMETs.
With EMETs, yeah.
Also, unlike other these type of applications, we don't require the GPS data. So people can choose to not give the GPS data. And also they can work out at gyms, like run in the treadmill and earn as well. But available applications that require GPS and they push to run or walk only outside.
I'm interested in this idea of crypto rewards. It seems like more and more startups are exploring this as a way to incentivize their user base to use the products more. And what I'm really curious about is how the economics of this works. So it's understandable why the user would want to use it because they get paid for it. What about on your side? Why is it valuable for a startup like you to create this this environment?
Almost every project that starts with the crypto rewards, in the beginning, they are like Ponzi schemes.
Right.
All have these risks, including ours. So the first phase, we generate the pool of rewards from the sales of the NFTs. Like users pay to become part of the community, to be able to use the app and start earning. The long-term game here is that what projects will be able to attract partners. Let's think about that together. Who are benefiting from people walking more? Of course, insurance, government, NGOs, some organizations that are actually either spending money to get people to move more, or if people move more, they are saving money, right? If I have heart problems and I walk 5,000 steps a day, then my insurance benefits from that because the likelihood that I will end up being in the hospital is decreasing, right? So this is the long-term plan. And here you have to have a technology that is reliably storing data, collecting and storing data. So insurance wants to pay that, right?
Right.
So you got the idea where this is heading. So the first step is that users are investing money, and those who are walking more, they are getting the rewards.
Right.
Then second phase would be, the closest phase would be partnering with consumer brands that are interested to pay for the exposure. Let's say shoe brands would like to have NFTs, the shoes, virtual shoes, branded shoes with their brand, right? And buy tokens for that. Those investing money into the pool and users get rewards. And actually now we are talking to top couple of shoe brands, but unfortunately we are under NDA and can't discuss. Or fortunately, we can't disclose. But stay tuned. We'll have announcements very soon. And also not only shoe brands, we are talking also other consumer brands, let's say watch brands. And so we see the interest here. Other phase is that we are planning to open the marketplace for artists to create their own and mint their own NFTs. And part of the sales will come into the reward pool. And the last phase would be insurances and the governments. So kind of we are becoming a intermediary, a platform where those who are benefiting from people walking and running, moving, are rewarding those people. And we are organizing, collecting the data, providing the reliability, and getting cut share from the transactions.
Right. So you guys are incentivizing people to do this productive activity, walking and moving more. You're able to accurately collect this data and provide it to people for whom it might be valuable. And then the end users, even your consumers, get something of value to too. For instance, their insurance could go down because if they're living a healthier lifestyle, then their insurance premium should be lower.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a really interesting model.
Actually, they're becoming healthier. They are benefiting from both sides. They're becoming healthier, and they get rewards. And actually, the mission of the company is to turn health control struggle into stress-free and fun experience. So in this way, we can shift that from being a struggle to fun.
Very cool. Okay, I'm curious about what other data points do you provide? Is it right now? Is it weight and steps?
So right now, even we don't provide the weight. We are shifting from just giving the data points into the whole ecosystem of Move to Earn. So we are just showing the AMETs they're earning, the tokens they're earning, and we are showing the number of steps they did for that earning. We're still collecting many data points, but now you are just seeing the numbers for your steps and your earnings, and that's all for right now.
To add to what Naré said, we are tracking almost every physical activity you do, but we are being cautious and smart about that, what we want to show the user. So we show users aggregated things, and your earnings depends on so many coefficients and factors. Let's say the NFT shoe you have and the activity you do, the suitability of the shoe and the activity, the weather, the intensity of the activity you are doing. There, down the road, we are going to add more and more factors and connecting the real with the virtual more and more. So your avatar is getting better if you actually physically getting better.
So this is completely new concept when you can connect yourself to your avatar. So imagine if you run every single day in the mornings, your avatar gets fitter or stronger in your like in metaverse or in the virtual world in your game, or even your NFT can become stronger and more expensive when you run or you do certain activities. So this is completely new concept when we can use wearable technology to connect virtual to a real world.
Tell me a little bit about your team today. How big are you guys in size, and how many of you are here in Armenia, and do you have employees abroad as well?
The team is, I would say, the biggest achievements of the company. We have been able to recruit top talent, like world-class talent available in Armenia, and people who are passionate about building hardware and software products. And we have people who joined us like naturally pinging us, finding us, telling us we want to work with you. We had cases when we didn't even pay at the beginning. People volunteered. Then we felt bad, and actually we make sure we reward everybody who brings value onto the table fairly. And speaking of the team, I would also emphasize the advisory board we have. We have the director of marketing, one of the top NFT projects, is advising us, Taler Malakyan from LA, and also Armen from the manufacturing side I mentioned earlier, and other entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs in health and tech world. The R&D team is in Armenia, where we originally started. We have office also in California, in Glendale, where we spend a lot of time. We don't have employees there yet. Me and Naré spending half of the year doing the business development side in the US. But the product is getting created here in Armenia.
I know you have some thoughts on building companies as a couple, and you guys are a married couple. So why don't you guys tell us what your experience has been like?
I don't complain,
That's good.
but it's not easy. Naré and I both have like strong personalities and our own perceptions and visions. Most of the time we don't share. That initiates a fight, discussion. But always we come out of these fights with better version of our visions and perceptions and
even
so
ourselves, better versions of ourselves.
Yeah, and that really helps to smart decisions. And there is a legend about couples, old legend, that says human used to be a superhuman, but then God decided them to male and females, and and it's like a puzzle. If you find the right fit, then you both become a superhuman. I feel like with Naré we found that, and that's our superpower to run the company.
Oh, that's great to hear. How much of your team is hardware engineers, and how much of your team is on the software side?
I wouldn't put it in that way. Okay. I don't like this question. For example, our CTO is like brilliant guy, a fantastic guy. I had hard times letting go the role of CTO, but the guy convinced me. So there are people who are I-shaped, and there are people who are T-shaped, and there are people who are mixed-shaped. So I-shaped people are the people who have narrow expertise in narrow field, and T-shaped people are people who have narrow expertise in one field and a little bit expertise in two other fields. And when you have engineers like that, they don't have boundaries. They are engineers. They are system engineers. Right. They understand the technology. They have deep backgrounds. Then you don't differentiate if you have hardware engineers or software engineers. Though, like, we have 2-3 people who are mainly doing hardware, let's say mechanical engineering, PCB design. Though some of them also can code. And vice versa, we have software engineers who can prototype, who can solder, and
right.
so on.
Right. Those early days of the startup, it's important that people wear multiple hats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And adding to that, I would say that some companies, some people got Mark Andreessen wrong. He said software is eating the world.
Right.
And he meant that there are so many areas that we can utilize software and solve a lot of problems. But not every problem is solvable with software. And still you need hardware to run your software, right?
Right.
And what we see, a lot of companies go hire PhDs in laser physics, in radio physics, and pay them high salaries and ask them to learn Python, to apply machine learning algorithms and solve problems that are really easy solvable with hardware. Of course, we know about like distribution problems, manufacturing problems, and so on. But still, if you hire 20 PhDs and tell them learn Python to solve this problem with bad hardware, with bad sensors, you would pick one or two of them and just give the problem and tell them solve the problem.
Right.
And you'll see they are easily solving the problem with hardware.
Right. I think often we've started to just default to software because the Valley, it seems like it took a shift towards just software and moved away from the science and the deep tech. But I think we're taking a shift back to it now.
People are afraid of hardware, so that U.S. lost his capacity of building and manufacturing hardware. Now they are. After COVID, everybody understood that Europeans were right, keeping in-house, even though maybe in terms of business it's not very rational
and cost-effective,
high profitable, but if it's sustainable, you should have your own manufacturing.
Yeah, I think COVID really highlighted the importance of local manufacturing for
absolutely
every market. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Wearable Tech and your product roadmap. So insoles are a unique wearable, I would say. Most of the wearables we see today are on your hands or wrists. Is there any unique data points that insoles provide that are harder to come by from something on the wrist or on your finger, for instance?
Speaking of where wearables are heading, we see that the biggest threat for the smartphone in near future are the wearables. We believe that the smartphone as a form factor will disappear, and the functionalities and the features it provides will be divided between the smartwatch, the earbuds, the glass, and the shoe, of course, and the clothing, right? This is the early days. And I don't see wearables competing together unless they are in the same part of the body. Let's say everybody is competing for owning the wrist, right? We are about to own the feet, right? So, but I don't see smart shoe competing with a smartwatch or smartwatch competing with a smart glass, right? There eventually will gravitate towards what is easier, what is more user experience, is better, is user friendly, and the functionalities will divide in between. Speaking of smart shoes, so shoes knows more about us than we can imagine, like how many steps, what activities, what positions, what kind of shoe on what time of a day, how many times in a year, and so on and so forth. So imagine that today, like smart shoe can connect with the virtual world, and you are storing the story of your shoe, your story, your own story, or story of behaviors and habits of yours in terms of being physically active is stored there.
Right.
And this is unique to the shoe. You can't do that with wristband or glass or something like that. And especially the weight data. We never had the chance to have historical and consistent weight data, right? Body weight. I'm talking about body weight. And we don't know what it can change, what is in that data.
I remember a few years ago reading about professional athletes using smart shoes. I guess it's probably something like smart insoles to improve their training. I guess the data that they collect from their training to make their training process more efficient and things like that. So do you see things like these smart shoes that have only been available to professional athletes and people like that becoming more democratized in the coming years, and fitness enthusiasts and things and people like that having access to that type of data?
I love the way you think about that. So there is sports and there is health,
right?
And in the middle, there is general wellness,
Right.
well-being. We saw a good implementation of shoes, like sensorized shoes or insoles, in both sides, in sports and in medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Both are early days. But they are, in terms of sensorizing shoe is not easy. Those products are bulky, expensive, and though they solve the problem. But if you have an acute, you don't care if it's bulky or expensive. If you are a professional athlete, you don't care if it's bulky.
Right.
But if it's a lifestyle product, then you have the problems. This is where we are the best.
Right.
So this is we are democratizing the technology, the shoe technology. We design in a way that it becomes everyday lifestyle product and adds ton of value into everyday life.
Right. Right.
Actually, we have a very big challenge to make it comfortable enough to wear all the day and soft enough to not hurt and sturdy enough to not break. So it was really a challenge. And we came up with this first version, and we are improving in every cycle, and eventually it will become kind of a part of the shoe in the future.
Yeah. Okay, and let's get to the future. What are your hopes for the future of Embry Tech in, let's say, the next 5 to 10 years?
So in 5 years, we believe we'll be serving millions of people, changing lives, and modernizing the world.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, if we imagine the future, we see that every smartphone has a camera today. Every shoe will have Embry technology. And we have big hope that it will not last more than 10, 15 years from now.
Until you get there.
Until we get there, yeah.
Naré, do you have anything to add to that?
So actually that vision, it drives all the team, having the technology inside all the shoes. And it turned out to be very logical that they must be smart because we are carrying our shoes almost everywhere. And even if we stop to wear our clothes in the future, we need to wear the shoes.
Right.
So we need to use that space to benefit from that space. We see people sitting less and moving more and walking, choosing walking than driving car or sitting all the day in the offices.
Well, I know both the space is in its very early days and you guys are now shipping and getting started. So I wish you luck with that. And I hope in the future you guys come back on and tell us how the product and how the company is going. Thank you both so much for being on today.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.